If I believe you can go ahead in the next 1 minute.
Hi everyone, welcome to this webinar. I'm sure that we're here because this career path creation, advancement, growth, and all of that is crucial at this time. I'm Ife George, I'm a life coach, and I am taking on this first session in this webinar as what I'll call the keynote address. And this, for any reason, if you want to classify it as something to really pump you up and steer you into what you're expecting to receive for the rest of the evening. All right, I'm going to speak to you about something that I have tagged Be All You Can Be, right? Be all you can be, make the world your playground, right? And I believe that that is crucial for you to hear because the world is open to you. The world is open to everyone, right? You can become anything you want to become, all right? You can become anything you want to become. And the only thing I believe that stops anyone from becoming anything they need to become or want to become or desire to become is what they know and what they don't know, all right? That might look different for everyone at different times, different stages, at different phases, in different regards. What you know, what you don't know, and how that, disallows you from becoming all that you want to become might be different for different people at different times. But that's something you need to crucially hold on to. The idea that if you know what you need to know per time, you can advance toward what you desire. All right. I believe that every single one on this platform at some point or the other have struggled with stuff in their life. They struggled in different areas of their life. They struggled with things. They've come through at the other side and found out after the struggling that they shouldn't have struggled as much as they did if they knew the things they finally knew when they got out. I'm sure that if I did a quick test, I'll find that everybody here in one way or the other has struggled with something and then got out on the other side and then found out that all it took them to get out on the other side was knowledge, right? Most times when we find ourselves struggling, there's just a knowledge gap. There's a knowledge gap between where we are and where we ought to be or desire to be. And so the moment we close that up, most times, all things being equal, you get yourself onto the next part of life that you want to be on. And so I want us to get that in, that crucially, every single time you find yourself needing to move from a point A to B, you want to ask yourself, what do I need to know, right? I believe that that has been the case for many. And so I know that today you're on this webinar because I believe you would like to know how you can grow, how you can improve, how you can enhance your career, right? How you can advance your career, or how you can position for a fulfilling career, right? I don't know, it's different things for different people, I'm sure, but I'm sure that every single one here would have something in common. I need growth, advancement, or positioning for a better career path or a fulfilling life. Now, apart from what you know or what you don't know, another reason people struggle in life is because many times we limiting beliefs. And I understand that many times we're not aware that that is the case. We just find out that we're not able to move past the places that we are from time to time. A particular person can be stuck in a career for longer than is necessary just because of a limiting belief. Now, limiting beliefs are beliefs that actually shortchange you and disallow you from being able to deliver what you are truly capable of. Limiting beliefs disallow you from being able to deliver what you're truly capable of, right? And beliefs are like our idea of life, our perception, our reality, our truth. And so if you find yourself struggling in an area, you know you're tired of the area, you know you're tired of the career path, you know you're tired of where you are, but you're not finding ways to get out of it. There's a belief wrong somewhere. There's a belief you need to tackle, right? These beliefs are like the lenses through which we look at our life. These beliefs are like our operating system. So the way a computer system runs, and it cannot run past the capacity that it's supposed to be operating with, you can't run past the capacity you're operating with. And so how do you know you have belief systems that you're operating with that is sabotaging you or disallowing you from making good progress? I think that pay attention to this next set of things I would say. If you figure out anything here that I've said relating or resonating with you, then you have limiting beliefs that you need to deal with. If there are things you believe you should have achieved, but you haven't achieved, right? Then they're limiting beliefs. If there are things you believe you should have achieved by now, but you haven't achieved, and you don't know why, you don't know why, you're trying to, you're doing all you can, you feel like you're putting everything you need to put in place, but it's not happening, there are limiting beliefs that you struggle with. If there are things you consistently struggle with, there are limiting beliefs you need to check out. Now, third one is if there are things you desire, but you have given up on having. Now, that one is crucial because sometimes we just find out that we change our course. So I want to be this sole person. I want to work in a multinational, and the next thing you set to work in lesser than that. If there are things you desire to have or achieve, and you find yourself giving them up, there are limiting beliefs that you need to deal with. If you find yourself feeling or being consistently negative or anticipating negative occurrences, then there are limiting beliefs that you need to deal with. If you find yourself consistently negative or expecting negative occurrences, there are limiting beliefs you need to deal with. If you are mostly anxious, guys, if you're mostly anxious about life, so you wake up in the morning, you don't like the job you're going to, you wake up in the morning, you don't like the life you're living, you wake up in the morning, you're clueless about the life you have, you don't even know what the future holds. If you're mostly anxious about your life or your work or anything, then there are limiting beliefs you need to deal with. If you never like to dream, now this one is funny, if you never like to dream because you don't want to be disappointed, you know how many people decide that they'll just limit their life to a particular level because they don't want to be disappointed. If you are like that, then there are limiting beliefs you need to deal with. Everyone, by natural cause, should be able to aspire to achieve something of worth. If you find yourself settling for less than should be normal, there are limiting beliefs you need to deal with. Finally, if you procrastinate, or if you doubt yourself, if you're always criticizing yourself, if you're always criticizing yourself, or you find yourself being too hard on yourself consistently, there are limiting beliefs you need to deal with. But you're here today. You're here today, and I believe that the goal of that is so that you can get some freedom, at least in the part of your career, right? But then I believe that limiting beliefs do not just center around just career. You need to be able to liberate yourself in entirety so that both your career and all of the other parts of your life can thrive. All right. So what do you want to pay attention to today? I think that at the moment, and in this webinar, through the course of the webinar, what exactly you need to do is focus on all the things that are capable of moving you from point A to point B. Now, what that looks like for each person will be different. For some, it might be that you find out that you need to maybe update your CV when you're done. For some, it might be that you need to update your profile on LinkedIn. For some, it might be that you need to get a life coach. For some, it might mean that you need to pay for extra certifications. For some, it can be anything for anybody. But pay attention to what will move you from point A to point B. Now, that might be something you need to start doing instantly right after the webinar, or something you need to stop, right? It might be something you need to do more of, or something you need to do less of, right? It might be something you need to do less of, all right? Now, it might be associations you need to get into, or associations you need to disconnect from, all right? It might be associations you need to get into, associations you need to move or disconnect from, all right? It might be certifications, programs, or all of that that you need to add to yourself. Now, when you go through this, figure out exactly what you must pay attention to. And what is important is that you make up your mind to do exactly what you must do so that you can experience the life you deserve. Everyone that has taken action at one point or the other in their life cuts the distance that they have between where they are and where they want to be. The world is your playing ground, guys. The world is your playing ground. Do not limit yourself, right? Do not limit yourself to what you know at the moment. If all you know is all you know, then you don't know enough. Do not limit yourself, right? So learn what you need to know and become all you can become so that you can achieve the life that you deserve, all right? And if you need my help with overcoming limiting beliefs at any point, I'm definitely happy to help. I can't wait to see you achieving the life you want, and I know you will. I love you dearly, guys. Try. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ife George, the life coach. Ife is a life coach in the UK and Nigeria. So you can reach out to him after the session just by sending an email. Thank you for that, Ife. And so in the next 1 minute, we'll be expecting to hear from Dr. Muyiwa Oludayo. Dr. Muyiwa Oludayo was the former registrar of Covenant University. He's also the CEO of Nathan Leadgates Consulting. And he will be sharing with us about mindset for job search. Dr. Oludayo, please could you turn on your video?
Hello, Wan-dey. Good Very good evening to you.
Hi, can you please turn on your video?
Yes, just give me a second. I'll do that in a bit.
All right.
Just give me a second. I get so look at you, so beautiful. Gosh.
Okay.
Hello, Wan-dey. I'm here.
Hi. Oh, okay. Oh, it's like coming from Wan-dey.
Well, I'm at an Owambe.
Oh, okay. So you have 15 minutes to share.
All right. It's a great privilege to be here, and I'm grateful for the opportunity I have. Let me thank Pascal, Mosh, Mayowa, Enyola, Dolapo, Debo, Ayo, Achibola, and everyone on this call for being here. And thank you, Wan-dey Williams, for inviting me.
Thank you.
Black coach, yes. And as I share with us this evening on mindset, my focus is on two mindsets. And before I do that, I'd like to start with a quote. And that quote says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. And the reason is, many a time we go through circumstances in our lives that makes us believe that we are not set for the future. We go through different stages and phases of life that makes us imagine that we have lost our track for career growth and career excellence. And so there are two broad mindsets that I'm going to focus on this evening. There are two. One is the fixed mindset, and the other is a growth mindset. A fixed mindset and a growth mindset. What is a fixed mindset when you start a job hunt? And what is a growth mindset when you start a job hunt? I'll start with the fixed mindset, and then I try to cover up the deficiencies of the growth mindset with a fixed mindset. So a fixed mindset is one that takes events as verdicts. And so, like, one day I've lost my job before. I've lost my job before, and maybe I should share from that experience why a fixed mindset will not do you good. And so at the time, I was thriving in my career. I was enjoying all the accolades that I could get. I've never, ever had to look for a job. People were always looking for me more than I was looking for them. And it looked like maybe I wasn't going to get the best of life when I had to turn in a resignation letter for my job. But this is it, friend. For about 6 months or so, I never earned an income. Now, what's a mindset? A mindset is simply your attitude towards an event of life. A mindset is simply an attitude or disposition, the way you have chosen to respond to certain things that come upon you. And so a job search doesn't necessarily mean that you have lost your job. A job search may also mean that you're transitioning from one job to another. You may be transitioning from an industry to another, or you may be transitioning from a company to another within the same industry. So what is a fixed mindset? A fixed mindset says, I am like this, I cannot become more. I am like this, I cannot give more than this. I am like this, there's nothing anybody else can do about me. A fixed mindset is a finished mindset. A fixed mindset is a completed mindset. A mindset that says, there is no more room for growth. There is no more room for increase. There is no more room for expansion, but this is it. A fixed mindset does not see opportunities. A fixed mindset is not ready to take risks. A fixed mindset is blocked to openings. Now, let me focus on the growth mindset, which is the primary essence of this conversation, because of the time limitation that we have. Now, what is a growth mindset? In talking about a growth mindset, this is one thing I want to say one day to all of us on this call. Please don't go through life. Grow through life. Don't go through life. Grow through life. And in talking about a growth mindset, I'm going to talk about the characteristics of a living thing. I'm going to use that Mr. Niger D that we all know very well. And I'm going to bring you to the perspective that this is how we should begin to think about our lives, about our career as we go about life. Number one is this: the person who owns a growth mindset will see himself as moving on. Moving on. You know, the first characteristic of a living thing is movement. And so you must have a creed that tells you that you are an advancing personality. On no occasion must you be static. On no occasion must you accept that an exit from an organization is the end of your opportunity to grow in a career. An exit from an industry is not a verdict that you don't have an opportunity to contribute elsewhere. In fact, an exit from a country does not mean you are supposed to go and start taking low-end jobs. I know a number of our colleagues, our friends, people who we know around have, because I'm in Nigeria, let me use the word jackpot. They have jackpot. And in jackpotting, they see themselves as, I can't compete. And so because they cannot compete, you know what they do? They accept whatever is thrown at them. Wan-dey, you know, you and I talked about the fact that many people, and some of the motivations for doing what you're doing right now, is that you hate to see, pardon me using the word hate, you told me you don't like the word hate, it's a strong word. Now, you always said that you dislike to see people taking low-end jobs when there's an opportunity for doing professional jobs.
Yeah.
And the reason is people have not seen themselves as an advancing personality. So one of the characteristics of a living thing is that we are moving. We are moving. The second is respiration. Respiration simply means by contribution driven. And so anyone that is going to have a growth mindset in job hunting must always ask the question, what can I bring to the table?
Sure.
And I'll say this from an example. So when I lost my job in 2018, there was only one place I wrote to. And I told them, I've examined your institution and I've seen this gap. And I have the capacity to help you fill this gap. And they were wondering, what do you think? Well, who are you? Okay, come over to an interview. Let's have a chat. And I can tell you, Wan-dey, that conversation led me to building Nigeria's national capabilities framework for HR professionals. I was looking for an opportunity to contribute. See, many a time people look for a job to earn. I think you should look for opportunities to contribute. When people see that you want to give, then they give you an opportunity to be in their midst. So number 3 is sensitivity, what we call irritability in characteristics of living things. A growth mindset is the one that is open to opportunities. It's a discerning mindset. A discerning mindset. You hear the news and you can tell where the next opportunity is coming from.
Yeah.
You read what we call annual reports of organizations. Many of us need to get a hold of annual reports of institutions. That's the place to study. When you read the annual report of an organization, guess what will happen? You will spot where they are making losses. Compare 2 years, 3 years report of any favorite industry, every favorite company you want to be in. Trust me, you will find gaps. In fact, you will be able to tell whether they're investing in hiring people or not. But when you check the number of people they are hiring, you want to check if their employee numbers are increasing or they're decreasing. A growth mindset is a sensitive mindset. It's a mindset that says, I can perceive where opportunities are brewing. A growth mindset is a sensitive mindset. A sensitive mindset is the one that discerns that I can see where investors are putting in their money. And that's where I need to position myself. Now, the next is reproduction. Okay, reproduction. Reproduction here consists of your ability to replicate yourself. Can I be honest with you, friends, on this call? You have
Oh, Dr. Oludayo, you froze. Okay. Please let's give him a minute or two. Come back on the call. Okay, I think Dr. Oludayo is having issues with his connection. And our next speaker is supposed to be Tunde Success. Tunde, I'm wondering if you can come online.
Hi.
Hi, Tunde. So sorry, even though it's not time for you to speak, but Dr. Oludayo is having issues with his connection. So I
Yes,
was
and
wondering if you could
I was
just
enjoying that conversation. Powerful one.
he's hot. Dr. Oludayo is hot.
I hope he was not trying to say that he reproduced himself in you.
He kind of did, because he's been my mentor for some years now, and
I think that's
he's
what I was
taught me
trying to
so
say.
much of the things that I know. He's helped my career this far, and so I felt it was important for him to come on board and share.
Awesome. I was really enjoying that. All right.
He's so I was hoping if you could share and continue, because I know he's talking about mindset, and then you're supposed to talk about education certification.
Okay. Is this platform interactive?
No, because we have limited time.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I wanted to ask the audience a question. All right, good evening, everyone. Good morning, depending on where you join us from. My name is Tunde Success. It's my pleasure to be here. Thanks, Wan-dey, for inviting me.
Thank you.
I've been asked to speak about the role of education, skills, and certification in job placement. And the question I wanted to ask, first of all, just to mention that education, skills, and certifications do open doors of opportunities. The next question to then ask is, which do you prioritize? Because the three are not the same. Which one would you prioritize? Which one is the fastest driver to the world of your opportunities between education, skills, and certification? And I would say that the fastest is actually skill, because you can get skills without education, you can get skills without certification. You can get skills through education, you can get skills through certification, but you can also get skills outside of these two approaches, right? Skills is very important. And when it comes to skills, proficiency is also very important. You can be good at using Excel, but you can be basic. Your proficiency may not be top notch. You can be at basic level, you can be at intermediate level, you can be an advanced level, right? Now, when it comes to international jobs, especially if our audience, Nigerian audience, or you are, migrating from Africa to the UK, it's very important that you don't come to a gunfight with knives in your hands. You're gonna get wounded. So you need to ask yourself, in terms of these skills, what is your level of proficiency? Excuse me, please. All right, so you need to ask yourself, what is the proficiency level of your skill? All right, so if you were to prioritize between skill, education, and certification, I would advise that you prioritize skills. All right, prioritize skills. Okay, so that's my first point. My second point is that, so let's talk about education, right? Education plays an important role as far as job placement is concerned. But guess what? As far as the UK is concerned, my observation is that it depends. It depends. It's not, you can't say, oh, I'm coming to the UK through education, therefore it's guaranteed I'm going to get a job. No, it depends. It depends on a number of factors. Number one, it depends on the kind of school that you go to, right? If you just go to a 10,000 pound school just to get out of Nigeria and you're hoping, once I get in, I'm going to get a job, it doesn't work quite that well, right? There's a difference between somebody who went to a 10-pound school and somebody who went to London Business School, okay? It's expensive, the barrier to entry is very high, but you're likely to get it's likely to be easier for you if you went to London Business School than if you went to a £10,000 school in a year. So it depends. Number two, it also depends on the industry. Depends on the industry, right? Even if you went to London Business School, it also depends on the industry. Number three, it also depends on the skill sets. So for example, you're aware that the government was looking for in the UK, for example, there are skills that are very scarce, e.g. teachers, right? So even if you went to London Business School and you want to apply as a teacher, you may even have overqualified yourself, overeducate yourself. So it depends on the industry, it depends on the area. As far as the area is concerned, area where the government has scarce skills, is an area of importance. So if what you're targeting is an area where the skills are scarce and you have the skill, then that will be, easier for you. Okay. Number three is that a good school can help provide you with good network, that can make people open doors for you. So if you go to a school where the alumni is very strong, because one of the things I've also realized is that human beings helps to break barriers as far as job is concerned. So you see a lot of jobs in the UK on LinkedIn, you're excited, you're applying. One of the things that I was told in business school in the UK is that less than 10% of people get their jobs through LinkedIn, or through the open market. There is a open market that is not public. There is a job market that is not public. That job market, is very huge, is bigger than the job market that is public. And it's only human beings that can help you break the barrier to that job market. And that's where networking comes in. So if you go to a good school where they have good networking, they have good network, I beg your pardon, then that can help you. You can meet people, break through the barriers and and the challenges, and that can get you going. Okay. My number 4 point is that certification is important because certification is short-term, is less expensive than education, and certifications are usually targeted at specific skills, right? So once the skill you're dealing with is a skill that is scarce, a skill that is globalized, a skill that is in an area that is highly regulated, then you are on your way. So the way you categorize the skill, like I said, if you were to choose between skill, education, and certification, I will advise you to choose a skill. But how do you categorize a skill? Number one, if it's an area that is regulated, it will be needed. Number two, if it's the globalized skill, like tech, it will be in high demand, right? Yeah, okay. So I was talking about certification. So certifications is short-term, it's easy, it's less expensive. If you target certification to acquire this kind of skills in a regulated environment, in a scarce environment, in a globalized environment, then you're on your way, to a faster path to getting the job of your dream, right? Number 5 point is that skills are very important, like I mentioned. That's the reason why the UK has specific immigration targeted skills program, because skills are very important. They're looking for drivers, they're looking for teachers, target skills. Number 6, the implication of skill, certification, and education is actually that you can start afresh, right? And I'm glad that Doctor was talking about having a growth mindset. You can start afresh. When it comes to the UK, if it happens that you don't have the skill set that is required, right? Remember that everyone has their own self-interest, enlightened self-interest. The UK is looking for people because they have specific needs. Canada is looking for people because they have specific needs. That is their own enlightened self-interest. So you've got to play into the enlightened self-interest, right? So what it means is that if it happens that you don't have the skill set that meets their interest, it's okay to start afresh. It is okay to use education to start afresh. It's okay to use certification to start afresh. It's okay to acquire specific skill set as a way of starting afresh. That's the implication of skills, education, and certification. And finally, what that means is that you need to be hardworking, right? Because you may have been doing something you're passionate about, but what you've been passionate about is not in an area that is needed in the UK. What you have been passionate about may not be the skills in demand. In trying to acquire skills that are in demand, you may not take cognizance of your passion. You may not find something you're passionate about. You may not be passionate about tech. You may not be passionate about any of these things that the government is looking for, right? What it then means is that in order to complement passion, you then need to apply diligence. It means that you need to work harder, right? In order to learn specific skills, you need to work harder in order to acquire those skills. Those are the implications of education, skills, and certifications. All right. I think my time is up. Thank you once again for the opportunity. If you do have any specific questions, please reach out to me.
Oh yes, thank you so much, Tunde Success. Tunde Success is another HR leader, home and abroad. And okay, thank you for that, Tunde. Just to add to what Tunde said, it's important for you to know that, especially for those who ask the question of how can I get a remote job? How can I get a job abroad? Abroad, it's more about what can you do? What can you deliver? What can you bring? What do you bring to the table? The way it is in Nigeria, your certificate, you have a PhD, you have a master's degree, and then so yes, you're given an opportunity. It's not like that abroad. Abroad, they're more interested in what you can deliver, what you bring to the table. I worked in an organization in London, and in HR, we were about 35, and out of 35, I think we're only 2 that had university degrees. All the others, when I check, they don't have university degrees. It's not about university degree, it's about what you can deliver. And it's important for every one of you looking for remote jobs to know that as well. Empower yourself with the necessary skill. Research. When I was in Nigeria, I don't use Google enough like I use Google now. Research, everything is on the internet. You don't need anybody to help you do. You don't need anybody to do this or that for you, but research yourself. And if you cannot research, then outsource. Get someone who can do it for you. Get organizations. There are organizations that research for you on what you want to do. Not just any agent, but look at the track record of whoever is speaking to you. Like I said in the beginning, I said in the space of 10 months, on a managerial position, I moved 4 steps. I once heard a Nigerian career coach speaking online. This person is in Canada. And then the person was speaking and saying, no, when you move abroad, you don't have to start small. You don't have to start small. I don't believe that. I relocated just about 2 years ago and I started small. And in 10 months, I've moved up to a managerial position by starting small. It's not about starting small. For me, starting small is not the problem. Staying small is the problem. I give myself a target. I give myself a timeline. And in 10 months, I'm where I want to be. So you can do the same as well. Start small if you have to start small. Do your research wherever you are. If you are abroad, you want to go abroad, you want to move to another country, do your research and find out what they need. It's not about, for instance, in the UK, if you have a master's degree, it's nothing. If you have a school cert, that's like high school diploma, and you can deliver and you have experience better than the other person who has a master's or a PhD, they will take you over the person who has a master's or a PhD. So it's not about your degree, but what you can deliver. So Dr. Oludayo, good to have you back. You still have about 5 minutes to share. I think the participants they were enjoying your session. So please go on for
I'm so
another
sorry. I thought I didn't know what happened. I kept seeing you and I kept talking, but I didn't know I was part of it.
Oh no, it's fine. So you have 5 minutes.
Sincere apologies. So I was talking about the growth mindset, and I said is a movement mindset that does not rest, that is not static. It's one that says I've got to move on. It's a respiratory mindset in that sense, meaning it's a contribution-driven mindset. You've got to be able to contribute to. You want to bring a mindset that contributes, that brings something to the table, just like you just said. It's a sensitive mindset, a mindset that looks for the opportunities, that is discerning of opportunities, that can detect where the next wave is going towards. All right. And then it's a resource managing mindset. A growth mindset is a resource managing mindset, because guess what, friends? If you are transitioning from one job to another and you are in between jobs, it suggests that you're not earning. And so the mindset you have is to ensure that you make the most of the resources at your disposal. And critically, one of the greatest resources that we have is the people around us. You see, I always tell people, if it takes you too long to get what you want, your network is poor.
True.
If it takes you too long to get what you want, your network is poor. The greatest resource you can ever have are the people around you. Before we talk about money, before we talk about your ability to use technology, people will connect you, people will recommend you, people will refer you, people will help you make searches. So like Wan-dey just mentioned now, people will help you make searches, and people will always point you to the things that are happening because they know that you have voiced it. All right. The last mindset is the mindset of self-care. The mindset of self-care. Friends, I like to appeal to you. Please take good care of yourself. Your physical self needs to be taken good care of. If you will make the most of life, if you will maximize opportunities around you, if you will be able to take on the next opportunities around, if you're job hunting and then you find a job, but you don't have the physical stamina to go around doing the job, chances are that you will have lost the opportunity. So I'm asking you, take very good care of yourself. Watch your diet, watch what you drink, watch what you eat, because you will need it. Many people who are in transition are depressed. And some people, they overcome depression by just eating and consuming. Others will just drink away. Some others will just not care about themselves anymore. So I'm asking you to consider all those mindsets. Don't have a fixed mindset, a mindset that takes any event as a verdict. However, have a growth mindset, a mindset that says, number one, I will keep moving. Even if I'm not hitting my target, I will keep moving. Number two, a mindset that contributes, that says, I have X, Y, Z that I can bring to your table. Number three, a mindset that is sensitive, that is always looking out for opportunities, that is always discerning of the next wave within a career, a job, within an industry, within an organization. Then a mindset that is a manager of resources, a great manager of resources. That's the mindset that manages resources very well, be it people resources or financial resources. And then we have a mindset of self-care, a mindset of self-care. That's a mindset that says, hey, I will be here for so long. And so I've got to keep my body. I've got to maintain my body. If you have this mindset, guess what will happen to you? You will find opportunities, or you'll find people knocking on your door. I'm at an event now, and two people who own bank licenses just approached me. And they said, we heard that you worked and helped XYZ Microfinance Bank. I said, yes, I did. They said, we would like to have a meeting with you. Would you be kind enough to give us a schedule? Now, as a consultant, I'm always job hunting. Job hunting is not only for those who are looking for 9-to-5 jobs. For you as an entrepreneur, you're looking for the next opportunity. So I'm asking you, friends, as I wind up, that this is it. Don't see a hunt for a job as an opportunity to earn money. Look for it as an opportunity to deploy your resources. Final statement from me. Don't see yourself as an employee. See yourself as a deployer. A deployer is one who says, I've got what to give. I've got what to share. If you have that mindset, people will call on you. People will refer things to you.
Wow, we lost Dr. Oludayo again. And to summarize what he has said, because Dr. Oludayo has been my mentor for a while now. And Dr. Oludayo, I can't, in the success of my career, I cannot remove Dr. Oludayo from it at all. I remember before leaving Nigeria and I started my certification for CIPD, Dr. Oludayo was my go-to person. I took the pains to go to his house, learn so many things from him, because the CIPD was a lot. And for a 3 hours exam, if not for him, I don't know how I will have done it, because getting the certification to be HR certified in the UK is what has helped me and gotten me to managerial position in 10 months. To summarize what he has said, he's talking about your mindset, having that, being positive, being resilient. For every time I get a rejection email, I look at it and I just delete it. I don't count. I just delete and say, you know what, this is not mine. Mine will come. My own will come. And I want to share 6 points that have helped me thus far as an immigrant in the UK to get to where I am. Number one, my mindset. I'm always very positive. I'm positive to a point where my spouse sometimes thinks that I'm crazy. I learned to leave the table when respect is no longer being served. I've resigned from jobs in 1 week. I've resigned from job in 1 month. Not because I was crazy, but I've learned it works for me. I've learned to leave the table when respect is no longer being served. First of all, my mindset. I make sure that I'm positive at all times, even when I'm getting those rejection email. I learn from every interview that I do that I'm not taking. I don't believe that I lost that interview, I lost the job. I believe that you can either learn or you win. You win means you get the job. You learn means you don't get the job, but you've learned something. And that has helped me. I've taken so many interviews that right now, I think the act of interviewing is a skill, and not many have that. I interviewed for 2 jobs last week, and I got both jobs, and I chose the one that I really wanted. So that's the way it works. If you do not know how to prepare yourself for interviews, get someone, get help, outsource, get help. There are organizations that do these things. They can prepare you for, have mock interviews to prepare you. You cannot always expect free things. If you have to pay to develop yourself, then develop yourself. The first thing, like I said, is your mindset. Your mindset has to be right. You have to be resilient. Regardless of the rejections you're going to get, you will not give up. Second is your network. Your network is very important, home and abroad. I keep my network at home. I keep my network abroad. Your network is your net worth. The kind of people you surround yourself with. Who do you surround yourself with? If you're a student and you're abroad, are you surrounding yourself with fellow students? I will say that's not the best. Surround yourself with professionals who have been where you want to get to, because they will help you in moving from where you are currently to where you should be or where you want to be. Surround yourself with the right people. Like they say, that saying goes, it says, follow who know road. Follow professionals in the field that you have or you want to get to. Not just, oh, yes, I'm a student, and then I keep myself within the limits of co-students. It will be like the blind leading the blind. So I have mentors that I follow, and majority of my mentors were speakers for this call as well, and then they help me along the line. The third thing is your tools, your CV. Your CV is not just enough, your cover letter and your LinkedIn. Most of the jobs I've gotten them through agents that look for me, they found me on LinkedIn. Optimize your LinkedIn. If your CV is right and your cover letter is not right, then you're wasting your time. Your CV has to be right. Your cover letter has to be right. And your LinkedIn should be optimized. As a HR professional in the UK, when I look at anybody's profile, when I go on LinkedIn, when I see your profile, I can tell if your profile is optimized in the space of 2 seconds or not. Because sometimes that you get jobs without even applying for them. They reach out. Most of the jobs I've gotten, they reach out to me even when I did not apply. Oh, we saw your profile on LinkedIn. Don't always expect free things. Pay. If you cannot do it yourself, then pay to get it done. Outsource it and pay. There's no way you can get the best from having entirely free things. The fourth is research. Like I said earlier, do your research. Go on Google, check, find out by yourself without anybody helping you. I did not use Google enough when I was back home in Nigeria, the way I use it now. You find everything on Google, everything. Learn to do things yourself and research. Then when it gets to the point where you feel, I cannot do this, then I'll source it, pay for it to get done, pay other people who have done it, and then that's just it. And then also, again, I'll also say that don't focus so much on free. I'm not talking about developing yourself with free courses on Udemy. Yes, when you do all those free courses on Udemy and all of that, they can help. But the field that you want to go for, let's say you want to become an architect in the UK. If you go on LinkedIn and you look at the job description for an architect position, below in the job description, you will see where they put, okay, certification in so will be an added advantage. Try and do that certification, that particular one. When you check another job, you will see that same certification will be an advantage. Then focus on that. If you have to save money, if you have to plan it, then plan it and focus on what is needed. Not wasting so much time on just those free courses that will not be needed to get your foot in the door. What is most important is to get your foot in the door. If you have to start small, oh, I was a banker from Nigeria, I was an insurance from Nigeria, it's fine. But when you come to a new country, a new system, or if you want to go into a new system, if you have to go and start small and work your way to the top, then it's not bad. Sorry, excuse me. Like I said, it's not about starting small. Staying small is what is the issue. Don't stay small. If you can start small, start small. What matters is get your foot in the door. In the UK, so long as you have UK experience, even if it's for a day, you'll get reference. If you work for a day and you leave that company, you'll get reference. If you work for 1 week, you will get reference. They won't spoil your reference. But get your foot in the door at anyhow you can. If you have to take a low position, take it, get your foot in the door, and then that will help you. And then number 5, mock interview preparation. A lot of people get nervous, get anxious during interview. I once had an interview where I cried and I didn't get the job. It was later on I found out that it was actually a red flag. I was asked something very sensitive and it hit me so much, and then I didn't know when tears started dropping down my eyes. But it's a red flag for interviewers here in the UK. I can say that for UK. So if you have an interview 2 or 3 days before, if you can practice with someone, prepare yourself before that interview, it will really help you. And if you cannot, then get an organization to do it for you. Get a company that does mock interview preparation, and then they will prepare you. You will role play. You will be the I'll be the interviewee, you will be the interviewer, and then we'll role play and prepare you. And then lastly, know your God. We can't take God out. However, whatever you believe in, we can't take it out in everything that you're doing in life. So without taking much time, Demola Ojo, please could you turn on your camera? Demola Ojo is a HR consultant in Canada, and he's going to speak to us about digital tools for job search. And he's also going to take and answer some of the questions that you put in your registration form as well. We have just about 5 to 10 minutes to do that. Demola, you're on mute. Could you please turn off? You're still on mute. Okay, yes, you're on now.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome, Demola.
A very good afternoon to you all from my part of the world. Good evening to my friends in Nigeria and the UK too as well. One day you actually took the wind out of my sail, because it was like almost everything that I wanted to talk about, you had already started talking about it. But that notwithstanding, I know I always still have an ace or two up my sleeve. So I will go ahead and share my thoughts with everyone. The trend of the conversation that we've been having thus far, right from the very first speaker, Ife, to Dr. Oludayo, and then to my very good friend and brother, Tunde Success, who we worked together for a while in MTN, has been geared towards everybody preparing for the opportunities that will come. But then in preparing for the opportunities that will come, you will need something to be able to allow you get your foot in the door. And that's why I'm here to talk to you about digital tools that are necessary and you can also utilize for effective job hunting. So I'm going to go a little bit theoretical. We've all been talking about job hunting, but then let me try and see if I can just, from my own experience, put a definition towards the phrase job, or rather the word job hunting. So job hunting, by my own definition, is the process of searching for employment opportunities which match an individual's education, skill, and experience. Tunde talked a lot about education, skill, and experience in his while he was making his contributions. And then applying for those opportunities and then preparing to be interviewed for those opportunities. So from what I have just said, there are 3 major buzzwords that jump out: searching, applying, and preparation. Now, the process of searching with the advent of technology has become very interesting and also advanced. Back in the day, adverts used to be placed in newspapers. In fact, I remember a job I got in 2005. It was an advert that was placed in the paper, and I applied, and then, I went through the entire process. But that has changed with the advent and so much advancement that we have in technology right now. And when you are searching for a job, and that's what technology has come to help us make life very simple, and then reduce the time that we would ordinarily have spent doing it manually. So when you're searching for a job, it's always of advantage for you to go through job search websites and also job search apps. Apps and websites that readily come to my mind: Glassdoor, Indeed, Monster. And then back in Nigeria, we've got Jobberman, and also some other job search websites and also applications. Now, the interesting thing about it is that most of all these websites also have created apps so that it's easy for you at the click of a button. You can just go in, create a profile, and then have all your data there and set parameters with regards to the types of jobs that you are interested in that align with your education, your skill, and also your experience. There's also professional networking sites that we all know. LinkedIn, for example. Now, LinkedIn is a very, very beautiful professional working site. Wan-dey has talked about our experience and also regarding how it is that you need to also optimize your LinkedIn profile. Now, to ensure that you are searchable, you need to ensure that you have a positive and professional online presence. Don't forget, the internet never forgets. So that's why at times when you see some individuals who go about clicking, making comments on Twitter and disparaging others and all whatnot, to a large extent, don't be surprised that they end up shooting themselves in the foot because people find a way to research about individuals, especially when you're being considered for a role, and they discover that, oh, you had said something negative, you had said something that was disparaging, and then that sort of like prevents you from having that opportunity of furthering the conversation. Now, with regards to LinkedIn and also how it is that you also create and optimize your profiles, you are to use keywords which showcase your experience and your expertise so that that attracts recruiters and hiring managers. Interesting stats about LinkedIn. Do you know that over 87% of hiring managers use LinkedIn to vet candidates? Yeah. And then if you have an optimized profile, it gets viewed 14 more times more than a profile that is ordinary. Yeah. So it increases your chances, it makes you more visible, and then it gives you the opportunity to be spotted. Now that we've talked about searching, the next step will be applying. Now, what the application process is basically is you saying, knock, knock, dear Mr. Employer, I want to work with you. But how do you get to do that and do that effectively? That's where your resume and your cover letter lets you get into the front door. Now, with regards to your resume and your cover letter, back in Nigeria, it was a one-size-fits-all approach, so to speak, that we had for most organizations. You just state your name, your details, your educational qualification, or your professional experience chronologically, and then you have it. But then the interesting thing that I have come to discover, and I won't be surprised if this trend also starts catching on, is that when you are abroad, you have to tailor-make your resume to suit the role that you are applying for. And that
Sorry, Demola, you have 2 minutes more.
Oh, and I have so much to share.
So much to say, yeah. I'm sure we'll have to do another.
I believe so. Okay, all right, let me just try and see if I can rush this. When you use, there are several digital tools that you can use to optimize your resume. You've got Resume Builder, you've got Resume AI, you've got Canva, you've got ChatGPT. Prompt them, and then they'll provide you with information that you will need, provided you know how to speak the language. I do believe you're right, Wan-dey. I think we should actually do another one so that we can help people have an understanding regarding all these formats that they can use and all these apps. Now, you've applied, you've used your technology to be able to tailor-make your CV, and then you're in the front door. Then now, you now have to now start thinking of how it is that you prepare for the interview. Researching the company and having an idea of what it is that they do, their financials, their values, their CSR initiatives, any information that you can come across that shows that you have a very good idea with regards to the organization that you intend to work for. The next thing will be for you to actually now start preparing for the interviews by practicing. You can watch YouTube videos, and then you can also go online and go to interview preparation websites and also applications that allow you practice your interviews in a virtual manner, such that you can role play.
I'm so sorry to cut you short, but we have just 2 minutes, and in order not to take much of people's time, I'm sure we will have another webinar. But just to sum up what Demola has said, the use of digital tools, please, whenever you use ChatGPT to edit your CV or your cover letter, there are other applications as well that you must use to sieve it out, to show that you did not entirely use AI for that cover letter or that CV or whatever it is you're doing. Also, job applications. It can be stressful editing your CV for every time you're looking for a job, for every time you have to edit your CV. But the organizations that do this, it's called job application service. They would edit your CV for you, edit your cover letter for you before you apply. So you don't end up just, throwing your CVs all around and then you're not getting invites for anything. You're not getting an interview invites. There's a way at which these things can be done. Anyway, it's 1 hour, and I want to thank everyone who has taken the time to attend this webinar. And I assure you there will be another one where it will be more interactive. You can ask your questions openly. There are a lot of questions, and some questions, if we did not answer any of your questions in the course of this, please email via the email that you got inviting you for this program. And I wish everyone a good evening, and hope to see you again at the next webinar. Thank you for attending. Do have a lovely evening. Bye.